Today we're working on a story that's either a suicide or a murder.
I didn't realize that we were going to be jumping into something so big, right away.
It's big and it's not big, depending on how you see it. Terrible things happen every day in this city. Hello?
I got the red vinyl of Bird Blows the Blues. Charlie Parker.
You got Bird Blows the Blues? My customers don't buy that high-end stuff over here.
I understand the insatiable urge to procreate with your boyfriend, but I've never seen Scott think deeply about anything other than your body.
I detest the way you detest people.
I know, and I love you for that.
Those are the detectives on the case. Today is your lucky day. I happen to have a working relationship with these guys. Ronnie, this is Phil from New York News. So where are you guys headed?
Phil wants to know where we're headed.
If you're trying to get laid here, just admit it.
Yes, that's correct.
Hey, this is Owen. This is Benny.
Do you love her?
I can't tell you that. You seem like the kind of kid that would spread that information.
I can't believe I put naked pictures on the internet of the love of my life.
I explicitly told you the consequences. The photos are available to any freak who wants them.
I think I remember you saying that before, but I wasn't listening.
I'm not a big fan of confrontation.
There she is.
I'm not crying. My eyes are always moist. I'm too emotionally detached from life to cry.
Aren't you lesbian?
Melanie thinks I'm a lesbian. And she thinks that because I've only ever been with girls.
Sounds like they're after the wife.
She didn't look like a murderer to me. She was a decent woman.
Me, I've got music in my heart. It's a tender spot. It's vulnerable. Come over here nice and easy, and I'm only gonna break one of your legs. Keep running, and I'm gonna break them both.
What's the thing where you don't break either of my legs?
Never heard of it.
You have to get tough, Claire. Go with your instinct.
My instinct is to quit this job, run away, and go home.
Okay, ignore your instinct.
Guys, keep clapping, give it up. I love this movie. I love this movie. This is a cliche thing to say, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I'm not a writer and I haven't written anything better. They don't make movies like this anymore. This feels like a movie from a period of time that I really love, which is the sort of, many will call the golden age of independent film, which is the sort of early to late 90s. This film felt to me like Slacker and Walking and Talking and these really great sort of vignette coverage of people living in cities and talking about their lives. I imagine pretty hard to get a movie like that made. What was it like for you trying to tell a story like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm, that's all sort of subconscious influences. I was raised in all those movies, so they're all sort of in me, I think, and coming out in some way. But it actually wasn't. It was a little hard, but not too hard. I mean, the script. I worked very hard on the script, and the script sort of showed for itself. And I'd also made I had made a short film by the same name. They're not really necessarily connected too much, other than that Benny is in both movies.
You're an actual record store owner,
yeah.
Right? And
yep.
He plays one or he plays a record collector in the film.
Yeah. But with the with the script and the short, it helped to have the short. Basically, it wasn't intentional that I did all that, but you could see by watching the short and then reading the script, sort of what I was up to and what kind of tone I was going for. So,
how would you define that tone, if you don't mind me asking? I said in the green room, very casual, which I'm not sure is like I love that, but I don't know if that's a compliment that you're looking for.
Yeah, sure. No, that works. I mean, there is a mix of drama and comedy, but I'm always landing on like the fun side and also a certain kind of casualness. Yeah, like that. I have plot, but I also like to play with plot and let plot not be the most. I like to have fun with it, but I also like to not, push it too far. And I like to just have. I want it to be a lot of fun, also. So. Well,
it feels a lot like the character. You're giving a lot of room for the characters to breathe between the plot and kind of, sort of hang out. The audience is hanging out with them rather than watching them sort of breathlessly wrestle with a story.
Yeah, I like when people hang out in movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine it takes a fair amount of courage to sort of write people hanging out in movies and direct that, because we're constantly told, I mean, I think filmmakers nowadays are constantly told that, you know, story, 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 story.
Well, yeah, and I'm dedicated to that also. I am dedicated to story. But I also yeah. I mean, movies I think are you know, we're also used to storytelling now. We've all seen so many movies that it's hard to be a little bit less predictable. I think we all understand, you know,
story has to do this and it has to do
this.
this.
Yeah, and they have to do that. And it's nice to loosen it up, and also not to like deconstruct the script so much until it's dead. So yeah.
One of the things that I loved about the film, and this is where your character comes in, is that you have lots of these adult characters who are doing things and working around each other, and then you have these two sort of teenagers who are the sort of philosophical pinpoints of the film, because they don't have to, it almost feels like because they don't have to do as many things with their lives, they can take a break and really comment on it and feel what living is all about.
Yeah, they're the ones taking the. I guess I didn't realize. Yeah, they're the ones really taking the breaks in the movie. They're not. They there's a lot of talking. A lot of the talking in the movie happens in that storyline.
Well, I feel like in most films, you know, rarely do the teenagers get to become these sort of words of wisdom for a film, especially a film mostly concerned with adults. Where did you come up with that idea?
Well, I know teenagers to me are gold mines in ways in regards to storytelling, because there's already like a dramatic element going on.
Feeling everything for the first time.
Yeah, they're feeling everything for the first time, and the character and the one that Tavi Gibbonson plays in the movie, you know, she has this teenage worldview of the world, how she can sort of see that it's trouble and she wants to help, and yet she's still stuck in all the teenage stuff of her life being also very important. So all that stuff's really fun and sort of juicy storytelling stuff that I really like.
And Ben, you play a teenager with Tavi. What made you want to be a part of this film?
Yeah, it started with the script. I read the script, and yeah, I think one of the great things about the movie is the dialogue, and the words were so excellent. The ideas that were being expressed were so interesting, and yeah, the teenagers speak with a lot of intelligence. He doesn't write down to younger people, write down their intelligence or their capacity to understand ideas. And then I saw the short film that Benny was in, and I thought the tone was fantastic. Like you said, it seemed like the kind of movie you just don't see that often. And then we met. He's a great guy, so that's
on board.
Yeah.
Benny, you were part of the short, and the film is really, while there's lots of characters and it's an ensemble, it begins and I don't want to give anything away, follows up with you, it ends with you. You're kind of the centerpiece of the film. What's it like being the centerpiece of a film with some pretty big names in it?
No, I mean, I haven't really thought about that too much, but you know, like, that was a nice part about doing the project was, yeah, it's a good team. You know, we got to meet, and we get to be, you know, that's, I mean, lucky, very lucky, you know, and just to cooperate with other good human beings, and that's like nice thing that Dustin did, you know, brought together a good team all the way around, you know, so it didn't feel unusual.
It was very important to make a friendly atmosphere and to work with people who were all friendly. There were really no egos going on, and so it was pretty effortless, I think, for Benny to sort of enter in and, you know, become friends with other people.
I got to meet Philip Baker. I'm a big fan of him. You know, to me the movie. You know, yeah, we got to talk about records. You know, yeah, it was great. Like he made sure I came down because it's all this. You know, it's not connected. But he said, Benny, you want to come down today? So I got to come down and sit with him, and we got to realize, you know, how much we have in common.
What sort of records is Philip Baker Hall into? What'd you guys talk about?
Yeah, like straight jazz records. Like, yeah, you know, your Wayne Shorter, your Coltrane.
That's pretty great, man.
It's great. It was fun.
And Benny, so you were in the short. How did you meet Benny, and what made you want to make a film really about him?
We knew each other for a little while, and then we became roommates, and we were roommates for a couple of years in Red Hook, where the record shop is. And I always wanted to make a movie with Benny, and then just sort of figured out how to do it with the short. I started writing something that would make sense for him. And then, wanted to work with him again. So then started writing this movie.
And while you have a lot of famous faces in this film, you have people like Benny, you have Buddy Duress in the film, who people, if they saw Heaven Knows What, he was a big part of that film. What's it like sort of casting a film with actors and non-actors? Do you find it, you work with people differently?
Yeah, I do work with people differently. I mean, but I have no preference over one or the other, and I really like working with that kind of mix. But I also think just every actor is different, even if they are. It doesn't matter if they're non-actors or actors. In both those categories, actors need different things. So I just, as a director, I just adjust to the person. But I love the mix, and in this movie, we have everybody sort of mixed together. And I really like that. Yeah.
Did you find George as well from Hunter Gatherer, the film?
Well, our producer made Hunter Gatherer, so that's how I found out about George. And this is his third.
Such a wonderful character.
And this is his third movie, and he's really a natural talent. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The film is shot in 16 millimeter. It's one of the few movies maybe this year or in the last few years shot in 16 millimeter. It's beautiful. What made you choose to shoot it that way, and was it harder than shooting on digital?
I shot the short on 16. I shot another short on 16, and this movie just it seemed just right for what I was going for and the tone. I love 16. I love the look of it and the colors and the warmth. It wasn't. I don't think it's much more difficult. I mean, there are some painstaking physical parts of it. You know, I think Kodak's opening a lab here now, but when we shot the movie, there wasn't a film lab here in New York anymore. There used to be a lot of them, but they were all.
You're
shut
sending
down.
it back to LA.
Actually, Baltimore was the nearest lab. So the turnaround and seeing the footage and things like that was difficult. But in terms of cost and things like that, it's not that much more. So.
What was the toughest scene for you to shoot?
Good. Yeah. There were a couple. There were a couple of them. So I don't. I could just. The one I'll just pick one. Yeah. I mean, I would say there's I could think of 6 of them, but one was the one. Yeah. The first thing that you shot, Benny, when we had to just call something happened and we suddenly had to change the schedule very fast, and Benny had to hurry over and shoot his first scene that he was going to shoot in the movie. And so we didn't even have it was in a bodega, and we didn't have the bodega nor the actors that we needed for the scene. But somebody had to go find the bodega. So we had to rush over there and do that scene. And it was sort of like a chaotic place, like we didn't shut it down. And people were just coming in and out, and it felt a little stressful and trying to get and suddenly the 2 people who were working at the bodega are suddenly in the movie, and I had to feed them the lines. But it's sort of how I like to work that way sometimes, not all the time. But it was perfect.
It sounds like a nightmare if it was all the time.
It was. But it was perfect for that scene, and because it feels really authentic and sort of what I like. But it wasn't easy. Yeah, it was very difficult.
Benny, what was it like shooting that scene for you? Because the scene that he's talking about is super funny. I love that scene.
Yeah, I mean, those guys were great. So.
Yeah, these 2 guys are not actors. They just work in there.
I would do that all the time. I mean, that's what I do every day anyway. You know, just interact with people, and there was just. It was fun for them, as fun as it was for me. And lucky, I think they were excited and thought it was strange and inconvenient. And yeah, same for me.
So Benny, you own a record store in Red Hook. What's it called?
Record shop.
Record shop in Red Hook, and you guys used to live together. And part of your story is about getting ripped off trying to buy an old record. Has that ever happened to you before?
I mean, not specifically that, but I think you go in. I think when you do what I do, you go into it knowing that you're going to get scammed in one way or another. You know. People are always trying to get over on somebody else, unrealistic values of things. I have no specific story with somebody selling me something that I thought was something else. But I think the nature of that, is that it's always going to be like a little scam, which is right. So
Benny,
I'm not surprised when I get scammed. Because it always happens.
You don't chase them down and give them a good sock to the stomach?
No, I mean, I have my own idea of justice. I know it comes around. I try to do the right thing by other people, and somebody's watching the shop while I'm here, and there's somebody that comes in with records, and he's gonna think, oh, I have something of a lot of value, and I want people to leave feeling good at the end of the day. I heard that he left feeling not good. So.
Ben, you were on Boardwalk Empire. You just worked with David Lynch on Twin Peaks, and now you're working with Dustin. What's it like working on such incredible projects?
It's very lucky. Yeah, I mean, I felt really. It's especially exciting to work with people like Dustin. It's awesome to work with people who are already established as iconic filmmakers, but to be working with someone who's sort of, just getting going in a lot of ways. I mean, Dustin's made a lot of different kind of movies, but there's a certain type of energy on those kind of sets that's really vital and exciting. So.
How would you define that energy, or how would you describe it?
I mean, I think it's like it's still so crazy that's like we're making the movie and it's happening, and yeah, I think it's also really searching to make these scenes work. Like a lot of the older filmmakers I've worked with, you just do 1 or 2 takes and that's it. But like Dustin is very specific about what it is that we're trying to find, and he's gonna keep searching until we get there.
Did you have there is a tone to the film that is, I think, very specific. Did you have a way that you would sort of direct your actors for that tone per scene, or were you trying to create a specific tone that would sort of coalesce throughout the whole film?
No, well, I mean, I was definitely interested in having different tones, actually, but I knew that I needed to be, there would need to be a consistency in some way. I mean, Benny ends up being the thread that sort of is able to tie things together, and then there's a lot of soul music which ties everything together, and then it takes place over the course of a day, and it's New York City, so. But also everybody had watched the short, and
some
so
great locations across New York that I think have rarely been used in movies.
Yeah, so I think everybody watching the short and sort of getting a feeling of where I was coming from helped everybody get the tone, and then there were some rehearsals and a lot of discussions, and but it's hard to, I mean, for me, it's hard to direct it. I mean, to actually direct actors to try to get a certain kind of tone. I think I'm leading them there, but I also I'm not trying to force any kind of tone, but I also was very excited about different kinds of tones. But I do think about it sort of musically, at least with this movie, how people would play differently.
How did you go about assembling this cast? Who was the first to sign on?
Benny.
Outside of Benny.
Abby and then Tavi came into the movie, and then it started happening pretty fast. Oh, you were on. Oh yeah, you were right. No, you were right there. Yeah, you were before Tavi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Abby. I mean, maybe even you.
Yeah.
Before Abby.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
An agent.
Right? Yeah.
An agent.
Somebody give you this. I don't know.
Someone sent me the
happened.
script, and then I was like, I have to play this part. So, yeah. And then we got to Tavi, and then the rest is history.
I love the stuff with Michael and Abby and his metal band, and the fact that he has this sort of extreme outlet that almost seems like it's an outlet because he's so cooped up within his job that is, whether he knows it or not, is kind of disgusting. Can you talk about creating that character?
Yeah, no, I mean he needs that outlet. I mean he does have a lot of stuff bottled up inside, and I think he hates his job, and so he's keeping all this stuff in. And then over the course of the movie, he's and near the end, it starts to come out more and more.
Is it coming out that he's bad at the job, or that he's bad at?
I think he's actually
women.
He's bad at women, that's for sure. No, he's definitely bad.
It seems that he's unaware of like the toll that like most of us can be sort of unaware of the toll that a job can take on you because you're just doing it day in and day out.
Yeah, I think he's unaware of that, and I don't think he's willing to necessarily admit that he hates his job. He doesn't like his. I think he's pretty good at his job, but he's not. He doesn't like doing it, and I think it does. He does feel like he's in a cage.
Yeah, it's such a great character trait. The metal band "Suck Greed." Right, is the name of the song?
Suck on Greed, yeah.
Suck on Greed, yeah. Let's get some questions from the audience. Who has a question?
Hey, gentlemen. Thank you for being here. So for you, Dustin, how to piggyback on the casting, picking the cast, was it difficult for you to pick the cast? I mean, how difficult was that? How difficult of a process was that for you?
I mean, some of it was hard. it wasn't too difficult. I mean, in regards to like the professional cast and going through agencies and stuff, the script did help a lot and attracted people, so that was very exciting. But the cast there's a very big cast. There's like 42 speaking roles, and a lot of it are non-actors and a lot of people I knew. So we were also casting in that way. But this was a very exciting movie to cast because we had so many people, so many different kinds of people. I mean, yeah, there were painful parts in there and trying to get people that I really wanted to be in the movie. I really almost got everybody that I wanted. Almost everybody in the movie is like my first choice. So.
Can I ask, I referenced a couple movies at the beginning of this interview that your film reminded me of. Was there a specific filmmaker or film that you were actually thinking of going into making this that was on your mind?
No, I didn't have any. No, I wasn't thinking about that.
Try to keep those out of your mind as much as
possible.
possible.
Yeah, I know it's all subconsciously in there, and so I let that just happen. I let that all, it's only afterward that I start thinking about like what my movie's similar to, but.
What did you feel like it was similar to when you finished making it?
Well, I hadn't. I mean, when I showed the first cut to somebody, they immediately said they all laughed. This Peter Bogdanovich movie, and I hadn't thought of that, but I should have thought of that. It makes complete sense, and I think that's the closest, in a way, to this movie. Yeah,
I didn't think of that either.
I know,
but
yeah.
Absolutely. Now that you say that, I've only seen that movie like once, a long time ago.
And then later on, people say, like I had forgotten about like Smoke, or I had never seen Blue in the Face, but I saw Smoke, but. And I think they only thinking about that because there's people telling stories in like a cigar shop and things like that. But yeah. So.
Next question.
Hi. So I was just wondering, like, what you would say was the biggest challenge you faced through the entire process of making this film.
I mean, I think it was really just the production. The production was a lot of fun, but it was really hard. We had a very small shooting schedule, and again, a lot of locations. And in New York City, it's hard to just move around. So we would have location moves often, I mean, I haven't counted how many locations there are, but if you see the movie, there's always a new location happening, which I also wanted to happen, but in New York, it's a really hard thing to pull off. So there was the production was very fun and sometimes extremely hard. Yeah.
I think we have time for one more.
Hi guys, thanks for being here. I was wondering, since this is a real ensemble piece, who is your favorite character, and you don't have to pick your own.
She looked like she was asking everybody.
Anybody? I mean, to watch Philip Baker Hall's, I mean, that's like a restrained, you'll see, beautiful restrained performance. I mean, that's my favorite part to watch.
Benny, it's all about Benny. So much charisma, it's just unbelievable.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting point that Benny brings up about Philip Baker Hall that I feel like you find a lot with incredible actors in their twilight years, which is that there is a knowledge of their own charisma that comes with a certain amount of restraint that they end up bringing. Like it does Philip Baker Hall more and more as he gets older. I think one would incorrectly call it, laziness or something, but it's not. It's sort of aware of exactly how to present yourself with a line.
Like I'll take old and melancholy over like, young and senile, or whatever most movies are today, which is just like a reflex. You just see young, it's just like it's like hysterics, which is a reaction to like the world that we live in, which is panic, So it's like it's great to see a slice of life movie. That's what you were saying. Yeah, it's rare.
Well, what's it like kind of directing that? When you sit down and start directing someone like Philip Baker Hall, who has this awareness and is sort of calm and all about reserve. Do you know you're getting exactly what you need?
I mean, I didn't direct Philip much. I mean, we had we had 2 conversations on the phone, and then he showed up. Oh, and then we had lunch also before shooting, and we talked about the character. But like in terms of like directing on set, he's already done so much, and he knows what he's doing. There's little tiny things, but it's not much. He was already aware of exactly what he was doing, and it is that he's a very hard worker and he's very dedicated. I mean, acting is his real passion, and it's very evident just working with him how important it is to him. So I had to, I mean, I just let him do what he wanted to do.
I learned he used to repair shaker. He used to be a furniture maker. So, I mean, you know, people could probably make some analogies with that. You know, before he had a career, you know, that was like one thing that he shared with me, which I related to him with. You know, I do like renovations work myself, so it's like cool.
It's a craft.
Biographical detail.
Guys, I gotta let you go. I love the film so much. Congratulations on it. It's called Person to Person. When does it open? When can people see the film?
It opens tomorrow here in New York in a couple of theaters and Los Angeles. Then it opens up to other cities, and it's also on VOD starting tomorrow also.
Amazing. Thanks so much, guys. Congratulations. Thank you.